Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. Today we will be giving the Remshi treatment to Zippy, because Zippy made his debut of owning a booth. Oh, I guess owning is maybe a strong word, but having a place at Blade Show to sell his stuff, which also meant that I got to try a lot of Zippy stuff that I haven't in the past, and I even made my own little partial purchase, because Zippy was kind enough to give me a little bit of a deal on these things, and also very graciously gifted me a Cycloid HD so I could spend some more time with it past and beyond the video that I made on them last year. I want to say it was last year. So the video on that is upcoming, and maybe even we will talk about this with the spacers a little bit more in the future. But Zippy's booth was super, super cool. So Zippy, dude, again, same thing with Remshi. It's so cool to see where he came from in the community, because I was the person that he chose to launch the Cycloid with all those years ago, which was just such a cool honor. And unfortunately, that video remains age restricted by YouTube to this day, even though it's a freaking plastic toy, but whatever. So seeing him come to the point where so many people look to him to make their favorite ballad songs, their favorite ballad songs, which is something that I said offhand in a video, and then he actually put it on the website, which is just, it's just the most Zippy move I've ever seen. Trying all his stuff finally was so great. It really is true that he just makes so many ballad songs better. The Cygnus was probably the most surprising one, because the Cygnus is a ballad song that last year when I tried it, I really, really enjoyed. But then this year when I tried it, I came back to it and I was like, man, I do not enjoy this as much as I remember enjoying it. It just didn't do a whole lot for me this time around, and I wasn't really sure why. Until I tried both a spacerless barrel mod and Zippy spacers for the Cygnus, which took away that little bit of weird handle bias that it has and made it much more neutral. Just absolutely crushed it, and I loved flipping that thing, which was the case for most of Zippy's mods. While I can't say that all of them are like, oh my gosh, you need to run out and buy this right now, the fact that he offers that customization that you can add to your ballad song is so, so cool. Case in point, the Orion 1.5, which he offhandedly said, hey, you got any ballad songs in there that you want to zipify? And I was like, you know, I don't really know if I do, until I saw my Orion, and I thought, you know what, let's give the spacers a chance, because the Orion is a ballad song that I adore the stock experience of. So much so that I'm thinking about buying a second one, just so I can have a trainer that doesn't slice me the second that I even think about touching the blade. But these spacers are so, so cool, because I currently have, I think there's spaces for 2 weights. I currently have 1 weight in, which according to his website is slightly more handle bias than a stock Orion, but it flips just as good, and I have that customization there. So now I have the customization of both having these orange extensions. Extending the handles in the first place makes a huge difference, which I'll talk about in just a second. But now I can customize the weight even beyond what I already could. And that is just so sick. I just think it's such a cool business model to be the guy that makes mods to make ballad songs more customizable, or in some cases even like fix problems that ballad songs have. The Vulp, I think, was one of his most notorious projects, where he made inserts that specifically created a more Chaplinable experience on the Vulp, a better balance. Now, I'm getting very sidetracked. Zippy at the show didn't have like Vulp inserts. He focused on things that actually were at Blade Show. But still, you get to try all of this stuff. I think 2 of his highlight mods that are like, you have to buy this, the Gaboon and the Hydro. 2 ballad songs that I tried at Blade Show and I just did not enjoy, but I tried the Zippy versions of them and they actually flip pretty well. So those are probably the biggest 2 I'd recommend. A mod that he didn't have there, but I was really interested in trying out, was actually not even trying out. I didn't know it existed until someone said, hey, do you want to try this? A Zippy Seraph. He makes weights for the Seraph, and it flips really good, and I might have to buy a pair. I'm waiting for a project that he's doing. He's making handle extensions for the Sasori, which I will most likely be buying, because I think a little bit longer handles is exactly what I want from the Sasori. So when I buy those, I might buy some Serif weights as well, because they're right in between no weights and a few weights, or no weights and the pocketed weights, which means you get that slightly heavier experience in terms of like momentum carrying, but it doesn't feel as heavy as the pocketed weights. It's great. But speaking of handle extensions, I love the handle extensions. You wouldn't think that this tiny little bit of plastic with metal in here would do much for the overall flipping experience, but it legitimately makes the Orion flip like it's, you know, half an inch, a third of an inch longer. Because like it moved that balance point. Mostly with the Orion, the weight is coming from this barrel right here. Now we have extra weight coming from tungsten in the bottom of these spacers, which means that weight point has moved from right here on the handle to out here on the handle. And I plan on doing a video on this in the future, but when you have more weight further away from that center of swing, aka the pivot on a balisong, it genuinely affects the way that momentum is transferred or carried. You need not only, I'm pretty sure you need less weight to transfer just as much momentum, but it also can just change the feel of the swing of your balisong entirely. So now, with these little extensions, which you wouldn't think they do much, this goes from flipping like an Orion, which is kind of small compared to something like a Kraken, to flipping like something like a Prisma. It has a more Prisma style balance profile, even though actually it's about the same length of a Prisma now. When without the handle extensions, it would be considerably shorter, kind of like the camaroEE is to the original Prisma and Prisma Pro. So it takes the Orion, which is this smaller flipper, and it turns it into this longer momentum carrying beast. And I love it. I love it so much. And that's what makes me so excited for the camaroEE extensions, because those are going to come out, push those handles back out to about a Prisma Pro length. And I think that's going to do a world of difference beyond just giving you customization beyond what MachineWise already offers in the box. I think it's going to do a world of difference for the flipping experience for people who are missing the older flipping experience of the longer MachineWise stuff. So just a quick little highlight video for Zippy, because I really enjoyed not only talking to him, but trying all of his stuff at Blade Show. He gave me full access to like his entire case, which was so sweet of him. And I got to try out not only balisongs I've never tried before, but his Zippy versions of those balisongs, which is just great. And now I have the Zippy Orion, and it's awesome. And I'm going to get a trainer Orion, and I'm probably going to put these spacers on the trainer Orion, and that'll be like my main flipper. Because now that the Prisma Pro is discontinued, I don't want to flip it as often, because it's kind of a collectible now, even though there's probably a lot of them out there. But yeah, I would love to have a Zippy Orion trainer. Oh, that would be so good. So, quick little highlight video for Zippy, because he was another maker that I missed talking about in the original Blade Show recap video that I did, but someone who I still really enjoyed talking about. And again, I intentionally left him out so that I could talk, oh my lord, so I could talk about the Orion and his mods in further detail. And coming up, we will talk about his plastic trainer, which he had a bunch of there. It was amazing to try those again. And he had some stuff that he was cooking up in the background, which I was pretty excited about. But yeah, super cool stuff from Zippy. Thank you so much, Zippy, for everything that you were able to do at Blade Show, and for talking to me so much, letting me use your collection, gifting me these two things. It's crazy. So thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. Go check out Zippy's stuff. Make your favorite balisong your favorite balisong. And I will see you all in the next one. Later.